evaluating their own issues in terms of what the, again, like the composition that they played prior just did not give them versus what they're trying to do here, which is what we've expected to see on Sunset Neons, which is get forward, get aggressive, take away space, hold that space, and make life difficult when you're eventually on the defensive side, or the offensive side. So we'll see what they try to do on the defense. I'm all mixed up, all kinds of confused. As Cubert will start on the attack first with the pistol. Little one-way cyber cage. Gives Inspire a little bit of extra damage before they really execute, and then the reveal from Poppin is perfect. Cubert is trying to find space to work with, but this is a complete dissection from Envy.
Yeah, this is a fantastic start to the B-hold from Envy, just completely undeterred. Is Nismo the only one able to get any kills, really? I mean, that was pretty cut and dry, able to just spray down on that first entry, and from there, take advantage of the fight. Great recon dart coming up from Poppin to stop the initial fight in its tracks and prevent Cubert from getting a clean plant from beyond the smoke. Pretty decisive from there. Cubert's notably lacked in pistol rounds specifically here on Sunset, but they have been getting the ball rolling after this whole song and dance first 3 rounds of the game. So we'll see how Envy is able to hold it down, how much they can come away with here in round 2.
Well, this round, I imagine, for Cubert is going to look a lot like the last one. Just, try to force it forward. You do have Redux in a spot to try to get something going with the extra addition of the SMG, but it's immediately shut down. And yeah, I mean, this is kind of business as usual in terms of what you would expect out of a Cypher defense for Envy. And I will say for Inspire, again, like, you talk about his performance on the opener on Lotus, like, great stuff, honestly, in terms of holding a solo site. He was at worst going 1-for-1 in the majority of rounds that he was being approached on. The difference in this map is going to be, can he get, an early, I don't know how to say this, like, get like an early setup to where he can get information quickly, and then you can have domination of the middle of the map for Envy, because the biggest manipulation that they can have defensively is just how and when do you use the gate crash. So yeah, that's going to be the big question mark for Envy to be more fluid on the defensive side, dealing with Cubert.
I am really curious how, what role Eggster is going to play as the twin duelist to Kainzera's Neon, because on the ISO you do have a very kind of defined role as just a raid boss that's going to be the tip of the spear of the normal push, while Eggster goes and does whatever that a Neon would normally do, gain that early position, get the drop on opponents that are going for crosses. But with Kainzera back on the Neon, Eggster, I mean, where exactly does he go from here? Does he do the same thing? Does Envy just dig their tendrils even deeper in, or is one of these duelists just going to start fragging out?
It feels like the easy answer is that I feel like the duelists are just going to start fragging out. And well, Eggster gets a little bit crossed up on this initial approach, just not playing as far aggressive forward as Envy. But this is what you look for out of Kainzera, is the ability to reach out stuff. Now, the issue is that's a lost area and has Poppin stuck in a corner quite literally. He's got nowhere to go here. So Knight's going to respect the spam, and Cubert will cleanly take A. Ion may find some kind of a connection here, but no, gets pushed back. Marshall, not the weapon that you want, but the weapon you have to use. And there's just no chance for Envy there. Again, just kind of playing the double duelist in the same position. Not great.
Trying to meet it early, get the drop on things, and try and get a good advantage before Cubert can gain the site. But now, again, we've all said our piece, and this is where Cubert tend to look their strongest. Nismo already farming up that res. We'll see how much they slow down rounds to try to get these extra orbs, to let Nismo just continue to get those, because we've seen them do that a couple times when we come to Sunset.
Revealing area.
Again, meeting early on the elbow, double duelist from Envy. Just
yeah, it's the exact same setup. I mean,
yeah, I just doing it again.
I really don't think that we're going to see much more of that. I mean, that's when you would assume, like, you get a little peek with the Yoru, then you pop a double shield or double tap if you need it with the ISO, but I'm not really too sure about that setup for Envy. This double duelist playing off of each other, kind of playing a bait and switch position, but they've been beat now 2 rounds in a row by an owl drone. Like, that's all it's been. So
yeah,
That's a scratcher.
This round should be 2. Envy are on the site again, but Cubert's kind of let that happen. Ready for the stack. Gonna just sink their teeth into it. Ion with the setup on the smoke. Popping out. Checked. Nicely dealt with. Cubert have a flawless round 4. And it's early rounds like this that let Cubert get really good halves. So Envy needing to stay on their toes early here, prevent the snowball from getting too big. And it's things like this where you're repeating things so soon, and you're hoping that you can win out the duel from that angle. Which I mean, Envy's very confident from that elbow, notoriously, but it's just not coming away with enough. It looks like Envy are gonna double down even harder here on Link. Have 3 pushing down here.
Yeah, that's the thing, is you need some sort of a smoke. I think if you're looking at that double duelist setup at A long, you can't just play crossfire setups. This is just fuel for Satellite. Okay. Nearly the world's fastest ace, because everything just runs right into him, and that's going to be, well, that's going to be a Viper's Pit in round 6 for Satellite, more than likely, just if you just confirm up the orb, or if he just gets the ace here. Unlikely with Inspire playing off the flank and the position for Satellite, but that's going to be a very quick Viper's Pit for Cubert.
Yeah. I mean, this was like, come here. There you go. Nice. Great start for Cubert. I mean, that's got to be a real nice mental reset for you coming into the pick. To grab something like that. And you don't even really have to ask too many questions. You don't have to really beckon Envy too much. It's them who's been doing a lot of the W keying in to start fights earlier than Cubert want to, and Cubert have just been ready for it anyway. I mean, they have everything they could need for these next 7 rounds. They really are set for life here. And yeah, it feels like Envy just need a little more of a pile up if they want to work with what they've got. The double duelist, especially if they're going to stick in the same spot, you definitely want Ion to be that like anchor from either the cross or just a third trade, so that you're actually getting something out of it. Because Cubert, I mean, they're going to stack heavier than you if they're at that point.
Yeah, I don't know. This opening setup, this opening playbook for Envy, I'm not really sure what the intention was meant to be in terms of this double duelist kind of combination on the close corner at A, but whatever that is not working. So you got to figure it out. And honestly, it's like, again, like the stock easy way to defend that corner is just to play a one-way smoke on it. But when you've got Clove as your controller, you just don't have the ability of resetting that smoke as much as like an Omen does.
Yeah.
So there is a level of respecting this Viper's wall on the offensive side for Cubert, but also wanting to challenge it. And yeah, but they're going to change their setup by moving the Cypher over. So this is an idea of we're going to play a little bit more passively around A. And then if there's contact at B, we'll rotate to it and try to play retake, because the Clove by herself is just not going to be able to hold the B site. So
yeah,
we'll see if this setup provides anything, because it looks like Cubert is going to keep testing their luck on this opening on the corner.
It seems like Envy's really desperate to just gain something with this toxic screen setup on the other side of the link, because Cubert are able to kind of cut the fight in 2 at a moment's notice, and it's clear that there's at least always one duelist that wants to try to stop that, but Extra recognizes there's too much of a stack, and he'll duck out. Elbow will get very quickly taken, and now the Hunter's Fury out from Caillou now that they're extended, and it's beautifully placed. Catches Inspired, that lets Cubert go, yeah, wherever they want to, really. A bit of a whiff with the blast packs, but now Redux can just guard dog as the spike gets planted, and Envy have to fully reset.
Yeah, that's a great barrier orb, just to kind of give you a bit of a one-way from the low ground at A main. But another round where, again, you just kind of, Cubert is crossing T's and dotting I's right now on Sunset. You get a read that no one's on the corner for the crossfire, so you go to business as usual. Oh, well, pause. We'll talk about that in a moment, as Envy are brewing for a bit of a retake through mid.
They're just going to cut in. Satellite caught early. Kane Sarah. Oh, this kid. Double shock dart out from Caillou. You're revealing your head a little much for me, buddy. Overdrive is out. Caillou just holds it down. Hold your faith, boys. We're up 4-2 as Cubert Academy continue to stabilize and make statement after statement.
Yeah, and going back to that execute for Cubert, again, you don't see the same crossfire setup at A elbow this time. So you say, all right, business as usual when it comes down to executing on the site. And once you get the reveal on Inspire, he's got nowhere to go because he's trying to play on the backside of the site, but he's not in a position to really dance to get away because of how far he's playing, like in the middle of no man's land. So it's just nothing is working for Envy's setup. You're on a broken bye again. And outside of the back-to-back early rounds, Cubert have really controlled this offensive narrative pretty fluidly. Another little clear out of B main, a little feel out over towards A long. And this is just comfortable ground right now for Cubert, just waiting to see if they can pull Envy into a crossfire setup a mid.
Spike drop.
I dropped the
And they'd
spike.
love to continue to find earlier and earlier advantages to just pour the salt into that wound. They're going to plant Caillou up on the pedestal very early into this while they have the vantage towards steps. But this is a very minimal setup anywhere other than mid. So Envy feel a lot of agency, especially with the lesser guns. Cainzera falling into that trap as Nismo's watching it. But it's all to show for Ion a little closer to the peak. Gets out one. Now comes the stack. Ion just holding it down. 3 down. And Knights forced to chase down the ultimate as Ion will get away with it, but Satellite sandwiches and prevents it from getting any crazier. Still though, Envy are up 3-2 at the moment with Cubert. 30 seconds to go and up on B main.
Yeah, the weapons just aren't great though, and you cannot get Inspire into the mix to pop a neural theft to commit to this. Poppin's in a one-for-done situation here, not going to be able to use the Hunter's Fury. Good info off of this. Damage also being tallied. Just down to can you finish off the last bullet needed to take care of Nice. He's got the spike. He also has it from the shadows. Can he pull something crazy like getting over to A? No, he's going to stick for this over towards the B site. Extra wants it, has it, no problem there. And a huge save from Ion playing over towards B main.
Yeah, really terrific work from Ion, working off of that initial push from Cainzera. And that's Envy again, recognizing Cubert's intentions so quickly. And it's not that wasn't necessarily missing from what we saw previously. It's just, again, Cubert Academy are so blatantly good at that execution that it didn't really matter. You saw that restabilization this time around again, but Ion getting away with 3 there by holding down that site. That's just terrific trigger sense that lets Envy get a finger back on this defensive half. But once again, they'll hold nice and far back, still respecting how much Cubert has for these openers.
This has got to be the last chance saloon for this setup for Envy. Now, the only benefit is that you do have the ability to play retake with Yoru if you do need a gate crash away to safety. And you will try to get it out of play. Hunter's Fury for the defense, cutting across the site. Poppin will connect, but they lose their defenders around A again. It's just been too open. It's been too easy. And now it's on to Cainzera playing it off angle. And you know what? We don't check the day one corners. And that's going to save Envy a 4th round here.
Yeah, that will do it for sure. Knights with 33 HP does have the ultimate. I doubt we'll see him use it this round. Certainly tempted to try to salvage this round for Cubert, but
30 seconds left.
a crucial lack of a check gives Envy a 3v1 advantage. I'll try and guard it. Oh, they do!
Love a good old-fashioned when the playbook works type situation.
Again, that's great work from Envy, continuing to just shut down Cubert at
10
every
seconds left.
moment's notice. Looks like we're back on track here as we're tied back up at 4. I mean, this was some pretty influential denial plays off of Cubert, kind of just not checking behind them, literally in that last round. But that is the difference. That is the slim difference that Envy can take advantage of to win back these defensive rounds, these crucial rounds.
If I'm Cubert, I'm still trying to approach this A site. It's been very, very open against Envy to this point. Again, like you mentioned, it really is just down to Cainzera in a corner. But so far, the combination of Eggster, Poppin, or Eggster and Inspire has not really stalled out the A hits much at all. But dimensional drift is always something you got to be weary of. I think the thing about it is if Exeter continues to want to try to commit over towards A elbow and you can get that information, you just keep forcing it back. Now this time it's a battle at mid. Does get evenly traded, so 4v4.
You will not kill
But
my
I'm
ally.
honestly just surprised that Cubert is not just going to continue to try to play off of this A execute. Resurrection will come through, gets us to a 5v4 situation, and yeah, we're going to just re-scout out A. Problem is we got a one-way smoke here this time, which is new that Cubert would have to clear, and they may not want to even go that direction anymore.
Yeah, they're going to have to slow that down if they do. I think Cubert were just far more into the idea of attacking top mid now that it was more consistently occupied, and they do find Kane's-Era after that. And now they'll smoke on the opposite side of that pull. So they're really selling the B pinch, and they'll actually go for it. Poppin and Ion do catch one on the way down as the smoke dissipates, but Cubert is at least in. So it'll be a 3v3 that Cubert have the sight for.
Yeah, we're going to dimensional trip to re-clear this.
Now,
Problem is, yeah, Viper's Pit's in play, so as much as you can get info here from Exeter, there's still the question of how do you actually clear out the pit itself, especially with everyone holding onto corners. There's the decoy. Exeter will fall, and now it's just down to how do you get this done the hard way, and they're just not going to be able to. Another ace on the cards, this time to Redux. And man, I'll tell you, it's just, Cubert's got every answer right now. I know the map is really tight in score, but I'll be honest, outside of the pistol and the follow-up, Cubert, they really should be up 7-2 right now, like legitimately. The 2 rounds that they lost came down to some heroics from Envy or some cheekiness from Envy that they just didn't clear, but Cubert's playing this offensive side really damn well.
Redux is the tip of the spear to start out that push, and despite Cubert being a little too slow on the courtyard pinch, they still come away with enough to set things up, and the Viper's Pit tossed up by Satellite is perfect to let Redux reset the fight himself. Now he's got a showstopper to enter into A with, and with the help of the toxic screen, Cubert feel far more comfortable doing it. Now that the Owl Drone is heard, they know that Poppin is vulnerable and alone and stuck. Redux has free entrance onto the site, free kill. Nismo opens it up even further onto Link, and this is the momentum that Cubert is looking for on top of the lesser guns that Envy had to bring to the table. Early flank here by Ion, and he's able to get away with the kill onto Satellite. So Cubert yet again have to act fast as Inspire is already here on the Link. Metal is going to get tossed into elbow 2. Envy want to try and make quick work of this, but with the spike down, Cubert can reset the fight. Inspire getting onto the site here. Cubert resetting fully in elbow after all that util got dumped in the space early on. Ion tries to get away with the flank number 2, but Nismo on kill number 3. Inspire trying to go for that neural theft on top of the kill on Spike, but there's far too much that Cubert have to let Inspire get away with anything on top of it. So it'll be a 6-4 lead for Cubert, and like you said, it looks like they have an answer for everything.
Yeah, they really do. And I will say, as much as like we're looking at this as like Cubert is controlling the narrative here on the offensive side, the same's going to be true when Envy swap sides as well. I think it's just a bit curious that this is Envy's map selection with this comp. They've played it, you know, before, and there were just question marks around the ISO finding value, I imagine, mostly from the offensive side. But defensively, this has still just not been formidable from Envy. Again, pistol plus the follow-up, and then 2 rounds that come to heroics. They're lucky to even have, not again, an 8-2 tally against them right now. Different look this time for Cubert into the limited purchase. Going to make their play over towards B. That's an easy angle for Inspire. Actually gets a little bit of collateral damage and turns that into a second, maybe even more, as Cubert seem like they want to try to continue to force this.
Cyber Cage reset him so beautifully, and now Envy can double on the fight that they know Cubert is still here for. Caillou trying to get the off angle outside of the smoke. Nismo and Satellite can hold it down from a distance, and Nismo does spray through, has a res available, and the barrier too, so could turn this into a 2v2. Looks like that's exactly what he wants to try to do, but with the spike also there, no reason for Envy to not just tear through this barrier. Nismo stuck with a really tough fight here. Envy is not going to give him an opportunity to go for anything other than this 1v2 fight. With only 40 seconds to go, it's not like Nismo can reset anywhere other than the front lines. A camera catching in the second he steps out. No need to even start the fight until he's fully confirmed.
30 seconds left.
Nismo has the idea of where he is, but he's already been peeked. One-way setup for Inspire to get the easiest kill as Nismo has to make the traversal. 20 seconds now. Slow orb tossed away. Nismo can heal himself too with the reset if he wants. Poppin and Inspire holding close. Stepping out of the smoke. and Envy has the setup. Took you long enough, didn't it? But it's a thrifty round for Envy to make it a 1-round gap.
I had to give it a try. I understand you just gotta, you know, take your feet out of the picture, see if you can surprise them. But that honestly is just down to Inspire getting a good bit of information before Cubert actually commit to the fight with this little shoulder. Again, just too much playing around with the cyber cage, like the cyber trap rather. Like if you're trying to play, if you're Cubert for some sort of a burst into a limited economy, you have to break that wire and go, and not give Inspire that much wiggle room to find info, find the free peek, and then a follow-up off of his own cyber cage. That trap wire is just too much of an obstacle when it really should have just been deleted and pushed into if you're trying to surprise like they were. Aldrum this time, though, for Cubert, going to show some forward pressure through mid for the first time. That's unique, that's new, and it's going to test Envy in a different way than we've seen before.
Cainzera holding a little farther on the outskirts, and the Hunter Fury still can't track him down. Cainzera gets away with 2 before falling, and Ion can now re-up the fight. Exter is also here as Cubert want to double down and grab more. Also with that res, Nismo tries to back in the fight, and it's a beautiful trap that Caillou is here for as well. And Cubert ends up with the majority, both in that fight and the last one that will happen this round, as Envy have to quickly follow Cubert back over to B site, where they'll try and set up for a 3v2 post plan.
What a play from Nismo. I mean, the Owl drone initially gives you the intention they're going to be making a play through mid, but the resurrection plus the follow-up off the slow over is perfect. And now you've got numbers for a 3v2.
Poppin's already here, and Cubert catches his head pretty early. Exter popping in for 2, though, and Caillou, it's all down to him to find a 7th. Exter holding down the fort until him. And so Cubert do come away with the majority of those attack rounds, but the tables are about to turn, and Envy, the second Cubert made a mistake, it was round shattering. If Envy can poke away at Cubert until they force a mistake out of them, then this might be a 2-map series. This might be a 4-match Swiss for Envy yet again.
I think you're still going to walk away pleased with 5 on the board if you're Envy, but that defensive half has us, I think, wanting in terms of what the setups even looked like in the first place. Couple of nice heroic saves, nearly able to find another one there at the end, but Cubert looking good offensively. The question will be, how do you deal with a very difficult double duelist to dance with? There's going to be a lot of pressure, I think, first and foremost on the Satellite. He's going to be the one that has to lock down a site by themselves with no true Sentinel in the picture. If you want to count Sage and Sentinel, sure, but let's be honest, it's more of a control base like the Viper. And the other side of this is, where do you put Redux and how do you play off of Knight's Omen control? Because this one way that you're seeing over towards A will likely be a staple of how they try to defend the A site. This comes down to, do they try to do it aggressively, or do you try to back off a little bit and try to use numbers and utility to play retake, as Caillou will find first blood into Inspire lurking at A? But do they expect a second lurker in the form of Exter? Doesn't matter, he teleported.
Yeah, he'll just TP back out. Interesting decision from him to not try to chase that down, but Cubert is very quick to meet B push, and
what?
Yeah, not to meet Satellite though. He's alone for far too long, and Cainzera gets enough time to get the relay bolt up too. Luckily, he's dealt with quickly enough, and Ion meets a crowd, still gets away with 1, so it's a 2v3, but the spike is still ticking away. Cubert's got to get to this, and they've got to do it now. Poppin sequenced away by that slow ore, but the paint shells don't catch him. He can try to extend this fight with 17 HP, not checked for a moment, but luckily Cubert can deal with him and follow up quickly as well. It'll be an 8-5 game, one of the few pistols Cubert has been able to manage this series, but it's an influential one.
Big time. And yeah, there's a couple of moments in there where it's like maybe Extra could stay on that flank a little bit longer, especially knowing that Cainzera was playing as far forward with the free B site. But I don't know if Satellite was like playing around with his toxics or not, but he was kind of licking a wall there. Wasn't really looking at anything around the corner, and you thought that maybe that extra elimination was going to fermentify this a little bit more, but like, I don't know what he's looking at right there. But yeah, too many numbers to deal with. Cubert able to out-trade it and keep Envy in front of them. I think most importantly, that was a really good slow orb to split off the Envy post plan as well. So good stuff, and we will only get 1 Stinger and 1 Sheriff added to the mix here for Envy. So again, huge advantage in this second round of the second half for Cubert.
Envy gonna try and speed things up, knowing how unoccupied B site is for the most part. The gun diff is still pretty important. Caillou able to hold that down. Cainzera is still going on the rampage and opening up the entirety of the B site itself. Caillou gonna retreat to get that heal from Nismo to reset for a 4v3, as the spike has not been planted, actually. Cainzera tried to search for extra trying to pile drive on top of the spike plant, but Cubert's just here for the full-blown stack v stack, and nobody's gonna get away with anything. caneZero will fall soon, and now Ion has to double back into market to try to make up for it. Cubert's already here, though. They have been way too quick in these opening 2 rounds for Envy to really blink for it, and even Ion shots can't line fully up. Caillou gets 4 this round, and Cubert's up to 9.
Yeah, good stuff. Clean bonus is going to be pretty formidable. Envy does at least boost themselves up a little bit with plant, but not much offer there in terms of, you know, again, finding much success fighting up against that purchase and the anti-eco. And I think the thing that's going to be kind of interesting to see what Cubert want to do, and again, it's early, it's not really enough for us to give us an intention of what they want to do defensively fully, but I like the idea of like your controller or your initiator in the Sova playing in towards mid-market and staying away from the front doors just a touch, because you have no way of slowing down Envy's approach. Not just unless you get a really good barrier or because the stage is in a good spot. You don't really have a way of contesting early. So either you're forcing a commit like you're seeing now through B main, or you're playing off-site and trying to get a defender to rotate over to give you another chance at numbers for either a contest or more than likely a retake. So we'll see if that continues to be the case here, as it is a 3-2 split for Cubert. Weapons are not bad, but obviously not as good as Envy can bring to the table here, and Envy are being very cautious about how they want to set this up until Inspire does get caught. This weapon upgrade already back to a 4v4.
Great response time early on, and Nismo once again has that freaking res, so Cubert come into this in a 5v4, and they can respond pretty quickly with the help of this toxic screen. They're still going to be pretty vulnerable here, quite literally. Satellite can just freely peek into this and see if he can get away with one. No, and now Envy have the site for free. Gonna launch that recon bolt in to see if anybody else is home, and just making sure that nobody presses the issue, because caneZero is here in the back, and he's going absolutely crazy. Nice meeting to get rid of him early on, but now Eggster here is the follow-up. This is the deal with the double duelist. Ion in the back with 3, and there's your real fragger talking. Caillou alone with the Sheriff, though, and he can dance with death too. Cubert come away with the bonus round and make it 10-5.
Yeah, that's a round that Envy are going to want to have back, because legitimately, Eggster, caneZero both scaling into the backside of B screens. It looks like it's absolutely free. But I think there's a level where they don't combine their utility correctly, because as soon as Kane finds the first, he's like trying to back off just a touch and maybe wait for the pop flash from Eggster, but he doesn't have it up and ready. So the flash doesn't really fully work out for Eggster. caneZero gets traded out and falls, and Ion almost saves the day again, but it felt like a moment of indecision of, am I going to play down towards the spike or hold this angle where I've already missed a couple of chances with those cheeky little shoulders from Poppin, or pardon me, from Caillou. So yeah, Envy's going to want that back, because everything looks perfect in terms of how you execute, how you get the trades you need, you get deep into sight, but it's just not enough. And I don't know. Cubert looked clean. And again, it just kind of makes me wonder, like, did production get it wrong? Did we put the wrong names on the top of the scoreboard for who picked what map? Because Envy do not look like their usual selves right now. They look a little lost and disjointed in terms of their timings of the double duelist, whether that be on the defensive side towards A elbow or in that moment right there in the backside of B. Like, are we committing to using utility to get that back screen's position, or are we getting one and getting out? It looks a little bit disjointed at the moment.
And it brings us back to what caneZero brings to the table when playing ISO in particular, because when you have Eggster constantly playing this Yoru, and then you have Poppin trying to constantly facilitate with util first and then go into the fights, with ISO you have sort of a middleman, honestly, that you can take in the mid fight and be that person to both cut off sight lines and then trade if another leg of that gets cut off. So when caneZero switches to the Neon, sure, he's continuing to frag. He's obviously going to frag. He's caneZero. The issue is there is no longer that, like, easy middleman of the fight. There is the 2 duelists who are trading off of each other most of the time, and then there's probably either Ion or Inspire having to hold on top of that stack for a post plant in order for Envy to hold on to consistent space, because these duelists have to get in, get out, get in, get out all the time. And so at the end of the day, it's a bit of a shakier footing that Envy end up putting themselves on by having this much more volatile duelist core.
Yeah.
And by extension, Poppin has also not been nearly as able to synergize with either of these two duelists. We have not seen nearly as much combination with these recon bolts and shock darts getting tossed in with all of the dry recon you're able to get with agents like Neon and Yoru. We haven't seen any sort of util dumping on top of, you know, corners or chokes to be able to flush out players before they take a site. It's always been, let's run on, let's fight, let's win. And this comp just feels like it can be built for different things than that.
Yeah. Poppin got really farmed in the first half in particular as well. That I think is important to note. That again, it's just like trying to play as a support system to that double duelist cross, you know, just didn't really work out because honestly, the double duelists are just not playing well off of one another. So like, if there's a split decision of I'm committing, I'm not, and Poppin's like, well, do I throw my stuff in or don't I? Like, it's tough, I think, to kind of read off of how quick the speed can be there for cainzera. And if Eggster's not committing to that with him, then Poppin's like, well, I'm not going to commit my utility either. They just get a little bit, again, like just disjointed. They just kind of get put on a bit of an island with one another when they're trying to play as a trio. So it doesn't feel as complete as we're used to seeing. I think there is a level of like, if you're Envy, you're looking at cainzera to maybe call the play a little bit in terms of, hey, we're going to hit this and I'm going to fast lane, I'm going to sprint this corner, and then you have the ability to follow up with like a deeper recon, and Eggster can be the one who actually commits to the frags. But at the moment, it just doesn't really feel like they have that as part of their set playbook right now. So
yeah,
it's tough because Cubert is, I think, doing the right thing against the double duelists where they're not committing to playing for early contact, at least if it's not on their terms. Like you go back a couple of rounds and there's that little play where Satellite and Nismo kind of peek through B long together. There's no one there, but at least they're committing to playing off of one another like that. They've got the ability to peel back. But largely speaking, Cubert have played off-site defensively, and they're just saying, you know, hey, if they're going to commit to a Neon execute, let's let Envy use all their utility, and then we'll play retake when they don't have any of it left. So I like the way that Cubert are playing this defense to this point. This will be a pretty revealing round because you would assume Envy's going to play with some aggression, knowing that they don't have full weapons, but we'll see if they can find value with it, because then again, here we are. There's a slow orb, you back off site, you let Knights play a bit of a crossfire, and everyone just stays alive. It's good stuff here from Cubert until trades are decent.
Yeah, they're going to spray it through, and again, they'll make something out of this site. Having to burn the wall does give Cubert a little bit of extra time, and now the Hunter's Fury going to get tossed on top of default plant. Can you do any chip? Doesn't seem like it, no. And very able to kind of spread themselves back out along with guns to take this back. This could be a really pivotal round for them here on the attack if they can fully make it work. But we still have a lot of extra util to throw at this Redux with that paint shell and even an extra blast pack on the table. Caillou has every piece of util under the sun to flush things out. And that's exactly what Cubert's going to do. Fully corner Envy. We're going to play around this clove smoke. Redux finds Poppin first, though, and now the slide in from cainzera to try and save something. Ion yet again, the stalwart force that just won't hold back! How does he keep doing it? The overheal saving him from the shock dart, killing him at 5 HP, and then grabbing the 4th kill on top of that. This guy is just a machine!
You take Ion out of this map, and Cubert are already loading into map 3. Like, that's just next level stupid. And it starts first and foremost with just placing a really good smoke, but you're right. The overheal keeps him alive just barely to take that final fight. But another round where, again, like as much as you could sit here and you get to give praise to Ion for saving it, Cubert are playing a perfect defense right now. This is going to be a bit of a weirder round because they are split on their purchase just a touch. But how you set yourself up to deal with this Envy double duelist, Cubert are providing every single answer they need to. So, I know It's tight. It's 10-6, about to be 10-7, but it's kind of like the first map from the last series where it's just like, Cubert's dominating in the narrative of how they're playing the map right now. It's just Ion's coming different.
It's true. There still looks to be an overarching better team while looking at this map. It's just these hairpin mistakes, these hero moments, these pop-offs from these absolute legends are making things far closer than they need to be. And for Cubert, that is certainly not good. They're coming up against 4 ultimates, 1 orb away from a full bank. And it's sudden death for their economy here. This is a very touch and go, very fragile all of a sudden for Cubert. A massively influential round coming into this. And so they will call the timeout. They will make that decision to spend a little more time discussing how they want to take this round after Envy condition the aggression in this anti-eco after, again, a tremendous clutch. And so much of what has gotten Envy this far has been predicated on Cubert making these tiny mistakes, doing these little things wrong. And so getting that extra time to discuss exactly what you want to do on this round feels almost necessary for the mental of Cubert as well.
Yeah, I mean, something's got to, I mean, this is going to be a round up here that, again, if you're Envy, you don't want to blow your load on this and just spend everything. You want to be able to kind of milk out some of these ultimates to extend your offensive chances just a touch. But based on how, again, Cubert are playing off site, like, I just don't trust that a dimensional drift's going to get the job done by itself. Like, it's going to have to be some sort of a dimensional drift with pings to try to get popping on the board with the Hunter's Fury. You don't expect the overdrive to come out until they're forced to be on some sort of a save anyways. So, you know, not the end of the world, but let's see what they decide to do here. I mean, dimensional drift definitely going to find more value towards B than A, just based on how Cubert have played to this point. Especially if you can break them off site, funnel them to market, then that Hunter's Fury can be really nasty. There's the Aldrome, there's the dimensional drift. Fast lane goes up. Is there a Hunter's Fury with it? Yes, there is. Satellite extender, right? Follow-up is good, a little bit deeper into sight. That is picture perfect from Envy.
You saw this coming from a mile away, and yet you really can't do anything about it. This is the round that turns the game on its head, that gives Envy a portal to taking the lead. They just need to finalize. Stepping out from Redux is able to deal with Egster, but also most of Redux's health pool. It's a util dump that Kane Zera prevents early on by swinging it, and Caillou can't properly trade. He is the last fully healed rifle available, and Knights senses the issue. Too much to lose and everything to gain if you hold on to these rifles. Cubert will let it go to 10-8, holding on to 2 Vandals, a pit and a showstopper to bring into the next round, but it is still going to be so damn close.
Yeah, and the thing about this, and you know, for Cubert looking at this next round, you've gotten rid of the 2 major weapons from Envy in terms of ultimate capacity. I wouldn't be surprised to see them try to do something like play for that mid battle again, like they did on the offensive side, and let Nismo be there to just resurrect it and get a 5v4. I would say compelled to see them try to do something like that and establish some pressure again, not on site, but somewhere where they can kind of take a battle on their own terms, follow up by just getting it to a 5v4 at worst. And then if you need to play some sort of an early contest, you could do it with the showstopper. And yeah, it looks like they might set up just for that. As how about it? It's the same 2 people that were there before. It's Caillou and Nismo playing off one another at mid. Showstopper would be used if you need to try to stall something out over towards A. So, yeah, looks like we very well may get that little bit of a battle at mid here early. See how it goes.
Three into open. Knights already sensing the issue. Viper's Pit tossed in very deep, and Ion strikes down Knights. Walking in really far after the pit got thrown up with 0 intel. Nismo early to this in the market, catches Egster, but Kane Zera on top of this. This is what the double duelist is for. Ion having to use the ultimate after Redux is able to clear the crowd. Poppin', finding Redux though, and now Ion clearing the queue in the market. Envy have enough to get over the line, and Satellite now alone has to save this team.
Toxin screen down.
No more rounds to make up for it. No more room to not go for it.
No, he backs on this. There's not.
You gotta go. There's no time.
No, he's
Hold on to this
out.
one rifle. Oh, man, this
you
is
saved
so
the
rough.
rifle here. 10 times out of 10, it's not worth losing the rifle when the rest of your team is gonna have to save. I think the thing is, that is, again, Poppin has not had many eliminations, but it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And him taking down Redux mid-air, mid-showstopper is a round-changing elimination.
Yeah.
Flat out, because everything was looking really solid in terms of how Cubert were trying to deal with that early pressure. They get a couple of trades, you slow things down just a touch. Ion does get the bring me back, so there's a level of him being a secondary issue after finding that first blood. But this elimination right here, after Redux was already teeing off in the back line, is everything in terms of Envy staying alive in that post plant. Big shouts to Ion as well inside of market, being able to deal with some of that defensive pressure through the screens, but that everything on that round for me comes down to Pop and find that kill on Redux.
Another controller holding close on the B door as Cubert do still have the guns available for this round. but Envy are on the verge of fully toppling this tower. And with no Viper's Pit or Showstopper they have to play into, Envy attack mid with reckless abandon. Kainzera babysat by Ion, but as the Cypher cage fades, they need to reset the sight lines and just hold up shop until Cubert gives himself away again.
Unreal
But Satellite stepping in, and Ion can't catch him. A massive gap that forces Envy to press into B early on. They don't know how many members of Cubert are here, but they're going to take what they can get when they can get it. And Cubert, unable to meet outside the smoke, means that they're just going to let this go down, holding in mid and in the back of Boba. Envy just trying to play keep away, trying to make as much distance between
Paranoia retake on the way
Cubert
here.
and the Spike
Knights
as
is going to be the one
possible.
to start it.
You have such a big stack here to work with in Redux. As always, the tip to guarantee the opening frag. Poppin holding the low angle is dealt with swiftly by Satellite, and that was the biggest thorn in the side for Cubert thus far here on this retake. Inspire in the 1v3 has a nice angle for the first, but down to 3 on the decay, and Cubert can make it work. We're back in business and up to 11-9.
Yeah, defense finding the pick over through mid-market. It may seem a little bit insignificant because Envy are able to still scale into the backside of the B site, but the tools available for Cubert on the retake are critical. You have the ability to reveal with the recon dart for Caillou, but you also have the ability to isolate the corner with the paranoia that's still being held onto. So you throw it on one side, you double shell the other, and it's just a little bit too easy to break it down from there because you're just playing with straight numbers afterwards. Just play your trades, play your bait and switches. Yeah, perfect double chows coming through. Cubert get to 11. Money's still fine here for Envy with the Hunter's Fury back online. No dimensional drift available, though. So you're not going to be able to find that same kind of combo success they had when they had it before, but still a formidable ult nonetheless. Envy pushed off from the A elbow early, thanks largely because of this one way. And another walk down at mid here could find value because nobody from Cubert is even anticipating this.
Envy are starting to get even more comfortable with this round by round.
God.
Ion way too comfortable, my guy. Brother, CT spawns back there. Now I just got to work with it.
I don't know how you reset this if you're Envy.
I mean, yeah, that was that was round shattering. Everyone's stranded.
You have to clear out A elbow here on this one way. And actually, this is not a bad idea. Kainzera could maybe thread the needle, get back around towards the backside of A, allow Poppin just to kind of go back and forth with the recon dart is seen, and it's gone from bad to worse just like that. Kainzera would have to win this round by finding at least 2 through this A side. There's no other way about it.
You don't have nearly enough time to do anything else. Redux already returning this, and I think timing's going to be bad again. Nope, Kane's watching it, and with Caillou on this judge, it's not like anybody can easily counter him, but the Spike is still so stuck in the steps. It's got to be on Inspire to pick that up. Cubert, I mean, it's pretty clear where the majority of Envy is at this stage, and Cubert, they don't want to miss out for a second. They want to make sure this round is as clean as can be, but Envy has somehow snaked back, and with the help of this smoke back in the CT, they've been able to retake A site. They can take this site and Spike down. Nice relay bolt. Hey, they make it work.
Yeah, it's the power of the Clove right there for sure. It just comes down to, can you win the 1v1 on the backside of the site? You sure can, but the problem is too many members to deal with from the front, no time available. And Cubert's going to get to map point, try to take us to our second Corona tonight.
Match point.
Looking
I think the
clean.
thing from here, sorry, I tried to decompose of what the economy is going to look like for Envy. The thing from here, I'm actually surprised that Kainzera is not going to throw this rifle to somebody else and just use the overdrive. But how do you get opening success in your initial executes? Because that's been an issue for Envy so far, even with the double duelist. And I think some of that is just down to Cubert has, again, been giving away space voluntarily and saying we can maybe find some sort of a crossing pick for somebody who's behind the duelists. We can find a little bit of information gain, I think, just off of like late recons. Like we have really seen Caillou find good value out of his late recon bolts in terms of like breaking down parts of the site. You combine that with the paranoia, and then you're able to break back into site on your own terms rather than trying to fight Envy early on their terms. So, you know, they're doing a nice job of playing a bit, you know, outside the zone is the words I've been saying, outside of the spike sites, but it's not reactive. Like it's their choice. Like they're doing it proactively to a point where they're actually coming away with a lot of the first bloods, even as Envy is executing. So they've done a nice job of reading the tempo and understanding what's in front of them with this double duelist setup. And that's been a major issue where Envy have not been able to adjust or adapt really all that correctly.
Yeah, I'm really impressed by how much value Cubert's been able to correctly attribute to each part of this map. and understand how much Envy is able to actually capitalize on something. I mean, so much of this game, top stairs, has been almost completely ignored, even though Envy is, I mean, they've started walking up all the way through it, and they've still continued to just ignore it. Cubert know that their sights are set better elsewhere. Envy, they think they have so much freedom, but they might just be free-range chickens, and Cubert might just be farming. Still, though, really clean exec to start things out, thanks to the Dimensional Drift and Hunter's Fury to start things out. Dexter might be able to get that online this round. After that early setup, the board is cleared. Cubert got a re-exec through the market. Paranoia open for the one, popping down to a crisp. Recon Bolt still catching him. Kainzera next line of defense through the smoke. This isn't optimized. Oh, but that jump through is for Cubert. Just a few more members of this team to go through. Got to do it kind of quick, though. Redux up to 3. Now that Poppin's been dealt with, forced to stand his ground on top of the tradeaway. Still running low on time, but that's what the barrier wall is there for. And Caillou and Nismo play protect the president. Clean the whole way through, folks. And Cubert, overwhelmingly the better team throughout. Again, a couple of hairpin mistakes give Envy way more rounds than they should have gotten. But regardless, we will be going to map 3.
Yeah, it's the same story.